Want to bring up, really excited to be able to have our next presenter joining us. She spoke at HealthSpaces 2 years ago down in Florida when we got to actually do live events. And has participated in HealthSpaces even dating back, I guess, even a few years ago when the event was called the Health Facilities Innovation Forum. She is currently the head of research for the International Well Building Institute. Her name is Whitney Austin Gray, and I'm going to welcome her to the screen right now. She's going to talk to us about the latest research and innovations coming out of their organization. All right, we did it with no technical issues. How's it going, Whitney?
Going well. How are you, Michael?
Good. Great to see you again. So yeah, excited to have you join us. I know you're going to present now for a few minutes to share some of the latest research and thoughts coming out of IWBI. So I'm going to let you take it from here. I'll come in on the back end just to see if we have time for a question.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Michael. And it's a pleasure, as always, to join this event. It's one of my favorite events because the audience is so engaged and it really represents a community. And I think you're always pushing the cutting edge of key topics. And so today I'm honored to share with you a topic around making the invisible visible around health in your buildings. And so my role at the International Well Building Institute is to lead research. So my background and PhD is in public health, and I deeply believe in translation of research to practice. You don't want me to build your building for you, nor even try to draw it on a napkin, but I do think that researchers have a key role to play in advising and translating research to practice. And for those leaders that are applying that research in the front lines to create healthy spaces for all, we really want you to be recognized for that effort. And so I'm going to talk to you today about making sure that those healthy places that you're designing and operating and maintaining on a daily basis are appreciated by your occupants. That includes, of course, your staff, the workers, patients, and visitors, perhaps. So if you look at this picture, what visible wellness features do you see in the space? Do you see clean air? Do you see clean water? Do you know if the light is good for you or not? Do you even know how much light you are supposed to have to help stimulate your circadian rhythm for optimal sleep? So my argument is that there's a better way in which we can turn sort of these invisible features into the environment into visible features so that the people that are in the space can really recognize and appreciate that. But it takes a little bit of work on our part. And perception of health in space is very important. So when we talk about the objective and subjective measures, we can tell you what the particle matter 2.5 is in the space. We can tell you that we have an excellent filtration system or regular monitoring of our ventilation. But that doesn't necessarily mean you perceive that that is healthy for you. How do you know? How can you trust the building? And I think COVID has really elevated the case of people wanting to be able to trust their building, want to be able to manage their risk, and information becomes empowerment. It allows people to control and understand the situation when we convey information to them. But there is a significant gap from those working in, I think, often design and facilities that are so knowledgeable about all of these topics and actually being able to convey that to the people in your space. Why do we invest in your health? And how can we actually make all these invisible features for your health visible to those people? So my day job is focused on the Well Building Standard. And at the International Well Building Institute, we are thrilled to be the leaders in building certification on human health and well-being. I often say that we stand on the shoulders of giants in the field of green building rating systems, and we are partnered with those rating systems around the world. So for many of those different corners, whether it's Boston or Belfast that we are working with, is that we often are working alongside BREEAM or LEED system for health and well-being strategies. Here's a map of those corners of the world that I used to have a chance to visit, but now we are welcoming them in more in the virtual community, and I think uniting people on this topic very powerfully during this time. So WELL certification plays a role in making the invisible visible because we are a third party that verifies that you are pursuing health and well-being in your environment, and you can convey that to people. I'm going to walk through some of the ways that you can convey that. So Well is accessible for multiple building typologies. The health sector, I will say, as someone who's worked in this field for many years, is probably the most complicated in many ways, not just because of the type of building, because of the variety of buildings you find on a hospital campus, and the variety of people and the different needs that they have that vary on a daily basis, not to mention the ongoing needs that they have on a 24-hour basis. So we are very excited to move into the health sector for WELL. We have 25 registered projects. We are open, so all projects that can pursue WELL right now. There are 7 certified health sector projects, and beyond those represented in the US, which I've shared with you a list here. We also have projects in Thailand, China, India, Canada, Brazil, and the Netherlands as our short list. Here in the US, the Cleveland Clinic pursued WELL certification on the silver level. Adventist Health and their new campus, we are thrilled to have them be a WELL portfolio partner, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what that means, but they are tracking and validating through data across their portfolio of buildings with WELL. The Colorado Health Foundation, certified gold. Merck is certified gold, and NYU Langone is certified silver as one of the first projects in the health sector pursuing WELL. And these projects are then able to convey to their people, we have invested in your health. We are walking through a certification process with a third party that is coming on site and testing and tracking the performance of your building. And this is so critical. This allows the walls to talk. This allows the invisible, that you're breathing in that air, or you're drinking that water, to be more visible so people can understand what have you done for their health. These are the 10 different concept areas within WELL, and we are not going to talk through all of them today, but I encourage you to go online to wellcertified.com, and you can download the WELL Building Standard for free and share that. It's a great resource, and we are excited to launch version 2, which just came out of pilot this last month. But today I want to focus on some of those invisible elements of WELL that we often touch. Air, of course, is front and center for many people right now. If you didn't previously appreciate what your facility was doing, not only to reduce poor air quality issues, but to improve overall ventilation, to think about source control, and of course, cleaning and disinfection. There are case studies emerging every day around transmission around COVID. And it's very complex, but it's also not the first time we've dealt with infectious disease. And so there are strategies that we have underway that can help to reduce the risk in the indoor environment. But people need to understand, what is the difference between maintaining ventilation in your system and increasing your HEPA filtration as compared to standalone filtration systems, which we are seeing. And then what about these cleaning practices? It's also not necessarily healthy to use certain caustic agents when you're not well ventilated, because people can be exposed over time, and that can cause unintended health consequences. And so WELL has stood up the air concept specifically to deal with helping people understand, why is their air clean or not, and what can they do in order to improve their overall air quality. We have also increased our focus in air as part of the WELL Health Safety Rating, which is a response to COVID-19, and I'll be talking about that in a moment. An example of a WELL certified space in the health sector that really elevated their work on air quality was the Views Marion, certified at the very beginning of this year in 2020. It's located in my home state of Iowa, and it's a really incredible project. I encourage everyone to check it out. What I want to highlight here in particular is their attention to the use of materials. They really wanted to focus on issues of odor, ventilation, natural ventilation, and even the cleaning products, down to the use of natural wood oils. And I think this is a really powerful way in which they also conveyed to people as soon as they walked in the building that they really could smell clean air, but why? What was that they were smelling, or lack thereof of certain cleaning products that they weren't smelling? And so they worked very hard to convey that to their patients, to their workers who are exposed to that, and of course to the visitors on site. Water is so interesting in the sense that we don't have strong biofeedback loops to recognize when there are certain chemicals in our water. Yes, we can taste, for example, chlorine in the water, but there are certain even metals that trace levels are not healthy for us, so we can't necessarily detect. So it's very important that we're able to filter the water on site for high levels of drinkability and encourage people to be able to drink that water. And so due to widely varying water quality across the globe, this becomes particularly important. So just ask yourself the last time you walked up to a sink in part of the commercial part of your campus and felt that you could just get a glass of water without wondering, is this filtered water? Is this safe water? And Well really pushes our clients to consider what can make that water be at the highest level of filtration and quality. And I think what's really interesting is we've seen our projects actually post signs next to the water, next to the faucet in the kitchen to say, this water is clean and filtered, because people are looking for the jug of filtered water, besides the faucet instead of actually using the faucet. So our filtration systems can enable you to use that source of water right there on the tap, and also to convey to people what are you doing as far as tracking some of these issues around organic and inorganic material that's in your water, as well as even Legionella control. So the idea that buildings are not meant to be turned off, and there are other risks at stake right now as we're examining what happens when you turn buildings off and then on. And so issues like Legionella are also important, so that you highlight that, and healthcare, of course, is familiar with this issue. Cleveland Clinic, I wanted to highlight them as a certified well project in their functional medicine suite. And amongst the interventions, they really looked at clean water through filtration, regular testing. So this also looks at issues of turbidity. So they actually see the water and can understand that it's healthy for you to drink. If there's high levels of turbidity, that can actually indicate that there's other issues, chloroform growth, etc. And so this was but one of the parts of well that they pursued and really highlighted as an innovation for their staff. They also pursued lighting strategy and post-occupancy surveys, and of course, looking at harmful air pollutants such as VOCs in their space. The last area within well that I want to highlight is light. So what's interesting is we don't actually know the amount of sunlight that we need in order to regulate our circadian rhythm. So it's sort of an evolutionary quirk that when our eyes don't actually, our photoreceptors don't really know what is the right amount of light for the right duration. So you don't step outside and say, I need 2.5 hours this morning of outdoor light at this level, at this color. So it's really up to us as building experts and professionals to be able to provide circadian lighting for our occupants and to be able to convey that, because it does have such a strong influence on mood and sleep quality. And I think many people are recognizing as they're stepping into their indoor home environments is that they're missing that access to light. And so well really does put this front and center in our standard to look particularly at circadian lighting design. And I'm highlighting the Minnow Haven Rehab Center in Pennsylvania as a project that really focused on light for well, and was able to perform at 75% of all areas, regularly occupied areas, within 25 feet of the windows had natural light. And there's some really interesting research, particularly around senior housing and access to light around mood, I will say, and the importance of bringing that natural light in. So those are 3 different areas of well in which I think it's important that well can help you make the invisible visible to the people in your space, and to convey better information around the science and research, and to also verify that your investment in light, air, and to be able to convey that, and water, of course. So there's several different programs that if you'd like to join us at well, you can pursue, and you can learn more about our work. In particular, I want to highlight the well version 2, which I've been talking about today, as well as the health and safety rating, which we launched in 2020. So the well health safety rating is 21 features that really look at low capital expenditure, if any, that highlight policy issues that you want to be addressing as people are, either returning to work or still in the same space, but you want to verify to them that you've done everything you can as a facility director to create a healthy and safe space. And I do think that our designers, our facility leaders may have a greater impact on the public's health right now and prevention of coronavirus, particularly because prevention is so critical. These are the different policies we look at: operational, maintenance, emergency, and stakeholder education and engagement. And these encompass 21 features in which we ask you to choose 15. And then you basically apply, and then we will ask you for documentation of this and verification in order to be able to receive the seal. So this just gives you a little snapshot. We've been talking today about air and water. This is what we are doing as part of the WELL Health and Safety Rating on air and water quality management around ventilation, air treatment systems, Legionella, your air and water quality plan, and your mold and moisture plan. This is what the seal looks like. And again, I emphasize that in an era where there is a lot of information and misinformation, as people are looking to trust their building. And so the walls are not talking, and we need to help them to talk to the occupants to make them feel safe, to convey to them that you put an investment forward on the health and safety. And so they need to understand that, and information is really key. And we think that WELL can play a role in translating that information. I wanted to round out the conversation today in that we've talked a lot about the features and strategies that you can do within your building, and then to convey those features and strategies through WELL to make the invisible visible. Data also plays a really important role in making your investment in health visible. And so I want to highlight a program that we are so excited to stand up, which is the WELL Portfolio Program. We are thrilled that Adventist has signed on to this among our other interested healthcare entities. And this allows Adventists, for example, to look across their portfolio of buildings to be able to track what are they doing in each of the categories of WELL. Even if they're not pursuing WELL today, WELL Portfolio allows them a path to start tracking and documenting. If you're making a health intervention in one building, we think there's power to making it in multiple buildings versus one-off WELL certification. And this allows you a way of tracking that and making this investment visible. And we are also, the data plays a really critical role in our platform around investing for health. Our work with impact investing, ESG is also part of this. And we're seeing companies stand up that they really want transparency in the investment that they're making on health. And they want that to be tracked either through their ESG rating, their corporate sustainability reporting. And so these are mechanisms that we are standing up to make sure that if you do want to pursue this sort of transparency mark in ESG, is that WELL clearly is linked to this and can help you in your reporting. So today I really wanted to share with you the power of research on health and the investment in WELL to convey the invisible to be visible to the people in your building. And to do that through making sure that when you walk in the room, you know that the air is clean in here. You know that the water has been purified, and you know the light is actually been measured to a level around what you need for your circadian rhythm. And hoping to do so can make the invisible more visible when it comes to your health and safety. So I welcome everyone into a conversation around We Are Well. So we are all in this together, and I think there's not going to be another time like now that we have one of the largest experiments to understand the role of buildings and the power that it plays inside of a pandemic. And I think that there's strong, powerful strategies, and we need to convey what we are doing to the people so they feel safe. So thank you so much.
Whitney, thank you so much for obviously for sharing the latest insights and research from IWBI. So we're running out of time here. I guess one quick question that I have is, there's a lot of great information that you shared, and the business case is, I think, more there now than it ever was before. Understanding that a lot of healthcare systems are having some capital issues, but where do you start? I guess with something like this for an organization that is not, I guess, thought about pursuing WELL. What's the first steps?
Sure. So the first step is discovery. So, get educated, get informed. So our information is available online. So if you go to wellcertified.com, you can actually download the WELL Building Standard. You can actually pursue your WELL AP, which is an educational program, at a significantly reduced rate. If you've lost your job, if you're a student, it's even more discounted. We have free training that's available as response to COVID. And a lot of, well, the funds that we receive from that, 20% of that are going to Doctors Without Borders. So get educated, get informed, then evaluate. Does it work for your project? And some of the checklists that you can download give you a really good place to start. And then from there, I make a plan. What can we do today? What can we do tomorrow? And so this is a phased plan, right? This is a multi-year investment, but you don't want to be asked, what could you do for health and safety, and respond, I don't know. So get educated, get informed, think about evaluation, and think about a plan.
Awesome. Whitney, as always, thanks so much for joining us. And just for people tuning in, we're going to be writing summaries of these sessions as well to share in the next few weeks as well on the HealthSpaces blog. So thanks so much, Whitney, and best of luck with the new addition to your family. So
thank you so much.
See you at a live event soon.